Everyone. Today I'm going to walk you through how disaster management works in South Africa. It's a country that deals with a wide range of challenges, everything from floods and droughts to wildfires and industrial incidents. So there's a lot to explore. We'll take a quick look on how the system developed, how it's structured today, the major hazards the country faces, who the key players are, and some of the big lessons South Africa has learned along the way. Back in the late 1900s, South Africa was hit by a series of major disasters. Big floods followed by severe wildfires. These events really exposed gaps in the country's disaster response. Local and provincial teams were doing their best, but their efforts were often inconsistent and not well coordinated. To fix this, the government introduced the Disaster Management Act of 2002, which created the Disaster Management Center. This gave the country a more centralized system to guide policies, coordinate response plans, and make sure resources were shared effectively. Overall, it helped strengthen communication and provide a more unified approach to managing disasters. South Africa uses mostly a top-down approach to disaster management. At the national level, the NDMC sets the standards and coordinates the overall response. The provinces act as the go-betweens. They make sure that those national plans are actually put into practice across their regions. Then, at a local level, municipalities handle the on-the-ground work like organizing evacuations and carrying out risk assessments. So even though the system is nationally driven, it still relies heavily on local knowledge and local action. South Africa's hazards vary by region, so it really depends on where you are. In some provinces, flooding happens often. Over in the Western Cape, drought is a major concern. Think of day zero water crisis a few years back. The wildfires are also a regular threat, especially in the fibrous regions. And beyond natural hazards, the country still faces significant risks from industrial and mining accidents. So to stay prepared, disaster planners really rely on tools like climate models, vulnerability maps, and strong public awareness campaigns. Even with a solid national policy in place, South Africa still faces some major challenges. Many local municipalities simply don't have the funding they need for proper emergency planning or infrastructure upgrades. On top of that, informal settlements often end up high-risk areas like floodplains or unstable slopes. A lot of the country's infrastructure is aging, which makes it harder to cope with the extreme weather. And with climate change intensifying floods, droughts, and wildfires, predicting and managing these disasters become more difficult than ever. Disasters really have shaped the way South Africa approaches risk today. The Durban floods, for example, pushed cities to improve their urban planning and upgrade stormwater systems. The Cape Town drought was more like a wake-up call that forced the government to rethink water security across the whole country. And major wildfires led to changes in inland use planning and how vegetation is managed. So each of these events had pushed South Africa toward a more resilient, long-term approach to reducing risk management. So to wrap up, South Africa's disaster management system may be centrally coordinated, but it really depends on a strong, well-aligned action at the local level. Even though funding gaps and climate pressures remain big challenges, the country is continually improving, updating policies, strengthening partnerships, and planning across multiple agencies to boost the resilience.